Welcome to the Problem Properties podcast. I am your host, Kathryn Vere, and every week we delve into the problems that properties have that are slightly less visible than the ordinary. So here we investigate any psychic activity that may be going on, any emotional imprints from previous owners that might still be layered into the walls and adding layers of toxicity to what you're living in. Or it might be that you have a property that cannot sell for love nor money nor any amount of refurbishing that you're doing. Whatever your problem is with your property, if you think that there might be something slightly under the bonnet going on that you are interested in finding out about, we look into and explore and are detectives on the more intuitive levels about what is going on and finding out the logical causes and being able to shift them for you. Welcome to the Problem Properties podcast. And today we are going to discuss the little known but crucial link between your home and your performance. And in particular, we're going to look at the energetic reality of your home and how that can, in many ways that you might not realize, be affecting your health, your relationships, your productivity, your sleep, and your performance. So in the discussion with me today, I have a very special guest. His name is David Walsh, and he is a gold-winning top athlete. He is an entrepreneur, and he is the CEO of Be the Greatness. So massive big welcome to the Problem Properties podcast, David Walsh.
Thank you very much, Kathryn. Absolute pleasure to be here.
So would you like to tell us a little bit about your background?
Yeah, as you said, former international gold medal winning medalist in martial arts. I represented Ireland for, goodness me, God, 15 years.
Wow.
93 to 2008. 16 times national champion, that sort of thing. International gold medalist. And from there, I took that mindset and discipline, etc., into business, and through various journeys and life situations, I'm now working on helping and inspiring people to be their greatness. Absolutely.
That's amazing. It's amazing work that you're doing. And so it's safe to say that performance is something that is important to you, David.
Just a smidge.
How important is performance to you?
It's up there with breathing, eating, and sleeping, I think.
So a few weeks ago, you moved yourself, your car, your stuff from the UK to Ireland
Yep.
to be living in your family home there. Tell us a little bit about what your performance was like when you were over here in the UK and what you were, the kind of levels of things you were achieving and what you were feeling about yourself and your business.
Even, goodness me, going back to 2020, I think even I was training twice a day, 5 days a week, and then once on a Sunday. So physically, a lot still happening. And even in the recent years, like last year, even this year, still a lot of physical performance stuff, and also obviously the business too, which transfers over to a lot of thinking, a lot of mental endurance needed there. So mental performance. So yeah, all round, physically, mentally, a lot of things were happening, and there was a lot of high performing activities.
So on a scale of 0 to 10, whereabouts did you feel that you were in terms of your productivity and your performance?
Yeah, I'd like on a low level, I was a 7, and that was on a bad week.
Right.
But typically I was at a 9.5 and above.
Fantastic. Fantastic. So David, what happened?
So thankfully got there, as I'm still here today, and moved over to Ireland shortly, a few days later, and settled in as best I could.
Right. And what did you think would happen to your energy levels when you went back?
Well, obviously, you think, well, a house is a house, and that you move your stuff, whatever, over, and you're just going to resume where you left off before.
Right. And did that happen?
Well, I guess the audience can guess that it didn't. No spoiler alert here, I think.
Right.
No, no is the answer, and no
Right.
by a long shot.
Okay. So what happened really?
So not long afterwards, I got myself into routine. I don't have my gym here yet, so I joined a gym. So I got all pretty much 90% sorted. As I said, I got my office ready, all that sort of stuff. So I was pretty much 90% of where I was before. So with that, I was expecting to be running pretty much on all cylinders, but that was not the case.
Mhm.
What I found was that my energy levels began to drop, and not slowly like a boiling frog or a frog in boiling water, where the things just go up slowly. There was a pretty noticeable drop off.
Yeah.
My sleep patterns were out of whack. My eating was definitely nowhere near what I was before. Like I was just eating rubbish every single day. So diet was out the window, and things began to spiral.
Hmm. So, what did you imagine was the problem?
Well, like most people who take responsibility for themselves, they go, okay, so yes, I'm responsible for my diet.
Mm,
Okay, I've got some physical exercise back on track, so could do better there.
mm,
And with work, okay, I need to focus harder, I need to be more disciplined, all that sort of thing. So that's where I started.
mm,
That's what I implemented.
mm,
And it quickly became apparent that there was still something missing. Even
mm,
when all of those things were in place, and even when I pushed harder with them, was more disciplined with my time, began to eat better, and was hitting the gym,
mm,
something was still off for sure.
mm. So, what gave you the idea that there might be something actually going on under the bonnet in your property that might have been
Yeah. So
affecting?
like after having conversations with you and seeing what you've done in much bigger places than I've got here. And also just sort of like tapping into to sort of my intuition or whatever, going, what's going on here? There's something not right. And so good old subconscious connected the two dots with what you're doing, and that there's something in this space
Mm,
that's not right. And so I reached out to you.
mm. So, had you ever considered this link between um, personal energy and the energetic reality of a property before? Is that something that you were aware of?
No, again, like being an athlete, you take responsibility for yourself
Mm-hmm.
and stuff. So it's all the physical domain within me, and or the mental, and maybe even a bit of a spiritual, whatever type of thing. But I'm used to looking inside me. Even from a business perspective, when things go wrong in the business, I go, okay, so there may be external factors, but what are the factors that I have control over? When I was looking at it, I was going, I've controlled the controllables as much as I can, and there's something still off. It's like I'm trying to run through treacle. It's like
Mm,
I'm pushing and pushing and pushing, but I'm not getting anywhere near what I'm used to and I should have.
right.
So then it was like, okay, so what what else do I not see that could be a factor in this equation?
Mm,
And so then it became obvious it was a property itself.
mm. So when you started, because I sent you a questionnaire, right, to sort of start reflecting on your home and what might be going on there, and your relationship with your home and
Yeah.
the energy there
Yeah.
compared to your energy, right? Because there's something here around you having worked so hard on your energetic
Yeah.
identity over in the UK, that when you went over to Ireland in that energetic reality, okay, you had the disruption of the house move and the stress involved with that, but actually
Yeah.
fundamentally your energetic reality and identity was very strong.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
then you go into a family home where there aren't other people around you who are on that sort of energetic
Yeah. Same wavelength.
frequency,
Yeah.
and so there's a kind of mismatch that goes on, and you've got different energies clashing there. And so what's going to win is going to be what's the strongest, what's been going on for the
Absolutely.
longest. And if energies that are there that have been are more disruptive, are less
Mm-hmm.
powerful, are less strong, are less kind of life enhancing energies
Yeah.
there, then it's very easy for somebody to get dragged down and drained by the
Absolutely.
energetic sort of signature or blueprint, or whatever's being beamed out, if you like, by the
Yeah.
charge of that energy that's in a house, which I think you picked up on quite quickly, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. It's like we all know that you are approximately the sum of the 5 people that you hang around with. And if those 5 people, or even one of those people, is negative and has this just energy sapping energy, that will affect you. That's what happened here.
Mm,
Is that there's certain energy or energies in the house
mm,
that were on a low level,
mm,
sucking or sapping my energy,
mm,
changing how I thought, how I felt, and were disrupting what I was used to.
mm. So I started off this process by sending
Yeah.
you a questionnaire. And what was that experience like?
Yeah, so it was very in depth, a lot of things to reflect on, which every one of them was needed. It wasn't a case of, oh, why are you asking this? It's like, okay, so got to this question, so oh my goodness. So yeah, all of this different awareness started clicking off. And of course, my subconscious is going, you've got this over here, and you've got this over here, and there's that one there, and there's this one here. And when you go into this room, you feel this. I was like, oh my goodness. All of these things started kicking off in my head. And I was like, gotta get all this down, gotta get this all this down, gotta get all this down. And it was like I wrote pages of stuff.
Yeah.
Because that's what I was feeling. And that's what I was realizing was happening in the property.
Mm. So can you give us just a few examples? What were the really standout things that you came across or reflected on?
Yeah, so feeling a sense that the property was actually lonely, which is, how can a house be lonely? But this one was. And it wasn't on one level. It was actually 2 levels, which we found we located were from 2 different people. Yeah, one was lonely in that they were banished, for want of a better word, to a certain part of the house because they couldn't go another room. And then another one was because nobody was visiting. So there was loneliness on multiple different levels. That was one. Neglected was another.
Mm,
So yeah, there was quite a few different negative, and I use the word negative in a loose sense. It wasn't like it was a dark entity or anything like that, but it was just not good energy.
mm. So by kind of having that opportunity to reflect, you started to see more and more things that are coming
Yeah,
out,
yeah,
are coming out the box, and more things about feelings around different
yeah,
rooms in the house, and just starting to realize, if you like, that there was much more going on in the house and your relationship with the house than perhaps you had thought about. So then after you'd had your reflection, we did the actual clearing session,
yes,
which
we
was like
did.
3.5 hours online with and what I was just trying to remember what the first thing was that happened. We
We
went to
had
your stable.
massive resistance,
Right,
and that was in the place that had the biggest negative energy,
right.
which I didn't expect because it wasn't even something I was even around or stuff. But yeah, the resistance was unreal.
Mm-hmm.
Like we had to use, I think, three different mobile phone. No, we had two mobile phones and an iPad to try and get there. And even like this on the third attempt, the phone died very quickly, normally faster than it normally would, and stuff. But thankfully, we got there in time and got it all cleared.
Yeah,
Um, then even when we come back to the house itself, so we dealt with an outbuilding
yeah.
first. That had the massive resistance. That we came back to the house,
Mm.
freezing cold. Well, you weren't.
If I made you walk around in the cold. But before we move to the house, just because I know what happened, but I want
Yeah,
other
yeah.
people to know what happened. What happened to the donkey and the animals that were in the
Okay,
stables?
so I'll give some context as opposed to there's a donkey. So yeah, it's a animal stables, and they were sort of left in limbo. My dad passed suddenly. He was the person who was taking care of animals. He also had a workshop in that building too. And when he passed, there was a lot of confusion left as to what should happen with that particular building. Um, the person who took over there brought it down one track, which we found was not what the intended purpose was from my dad.
Mm,
Um, so that caused a lot of uh, unnecessary grief for the animals that were in there. And so when you cleared that, there was just this sense of relief from
mm,
the animals. It's like, and you're gonna call me cuckoo now, but I could see it in the face of the animals, especially Elton the donkey,
mm,
who was just like he just looked at me and went, "Thank you." And I know donkeys don't talk, but if you have an animal, you know when they're saying something to you.
mm.
And
Beautiful.
the horses, who I have no relationship with whatsoever, um, were coming towards me, especially the older ones who had a relationship with my dad,
Mm,
and they were the ones who were suffering the most.
mm,
They were coming towards me in a way to say thank you. So that was very interesting and not anything I had experienced before or even expected.
mm. That's beautiful. So we did quite a lot of work out there in the outbuilding the stables, and then yeah, you were freezing. It was a very cold day. We came back into the house,
Yeah.
right? And then what happened?
Yeah. So then we started clearing room by room, and stuff like this. We dealt with those rooms that were lonely, and stuff. So we cleared that energy, which they're very different today. We found that there were two young entities in our hallway, and I had always felt that, like, not even before going through your questionnaire, the hallway in this house had always felt dark.
Mm,
Even when the sun was coming through the front of the house, it was just dark,
mhm,
unnecessarily so. And so you found that there were two little imps running around, or
mhm,
well, hiding, I guess, and stuff in the hallway. So we released them, and instantly it was a lot brighter. And not just because the sun had come out and because it didn't, but it was actually visibly brighter in the
mhm,
hallway. And you could, because before there was a sense of darkness, that you're walking through darkness, a veil type of thing, but that had disappeared. So even now it's like, ooh, it has a very different energy about it. yeah, so we cleared down the downstairs, and then we did the upstairs. And this room in particular was very interesting, in that this was the least used room in the whole house. There's stuff thrown in the wardrobe, out of the way. Christmas decoration. The Christmas decorations are still in the corner.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a dumping ground, or was a dumping ground, for Christmas decorations and stuff. So you once you picked up on that, then we realized, well, this is a very important room, especially from a business. If this is where I'm going to be for the next 50 whatever years, then this is a very, very important room, because we're going to be spending 8-12 hours a day here in this office type of thing. So the energy needs to be very conducive for high performance.
Yeah.
And so you did a lot of work here, clearing this room, um, and building a relationship with me in this room, or with the room and me,
Mm-hmm.
which is, again, a very important thing, that the room has to have my back, because if it doesn't, then again, I'm running through treacle again, and I'm fighting an uphill battle that I'm never going to win. So yeah, that was very interesting indeed. Once we made that shift in the energies, change, completely change to 180. And yeah, it's a very, very different room today than it was before.
Mm. Wow. So what do you make of all these changes and that that happened in this clearing?
Yeah, so it's like, again, it's one of those things that, yeah, it's woo woo, and it's a bit cuckoo and all of these things, but even logically, like, you picked up on stuff and you were able to tell me stuff that I could confirm, about certain people, about certain events, even stuff with my mum, and stuff that didn't even figure with this property itself, that you picked up on, that happened, goodness me, 60 years ago. Everything was spot on.
Mm.
So that gave me belief that it wasn't just some woo woo thing that, yeah, and again, I knew it wasn't, but for anyone who's thinking that, oh, it's just some hocus pocus, whatever, she just got lucky, that's,
Mm.
you come up with stuff that like, no one knows. People in our family don't even know,
Mm.
and stuff. So yeah, for anyone who's thinking that there's something off about where they are or whatever, I would definitely recommend to get it checked out.
Mm. And I think it's interesting because what you're talking about there really is being willing to look at the real
Yeah,
true root causes rather than the symptoms. And I think a lot of work that you can do on performance is so much based on looking at the symptoms,
yeah,
and monitoring your blood pressure, monitoring your sleep,
yeah,
looking at your diet, all these very sort of external markers of performance and success.
absolutely.
Whereas, what the sort of work we were doing together with this is so much more under the bonnet. It's actually saying, so if there's a problem, instead of trying to fix it or sort it or push
Yeah,
it forward on the top surface symptom level, let's actually look at these symptoms and say, well, what are the actual root causes of these? And I think for you, it was just so much easier to see because you did a shift in you
yeah,
moved house. Whereas somebody we'll go back to your metaphor of the pot, the frog or the
yeah, the
lobster
frog
in
in the boiling
the
water. Yeah,
frog at the bottom of the water. If you've lived in a house for a long time and very slowly your performance has gone, has decreased, and you're still pushing, and you're probably
yeah,
trying to keep more supplements,
yeah,
more coaching, more things. You're trying to
yeah,
grab and bring in more
yeah,
things externally, and actually what you could be doing is stopping to ask yourself, well, hang on a minute, okay, perhaps there are things here going on which do have root causes, and what
hmm,
would it be like if I tried to find out what those root causes were and shifted things there? Then surely the symptoms would then either resolve themselves, upgrade themselves, remove
yeah,
themselves, or whatever.
yeah. Exactly. It's like somebody moved house and all of a sudden they get sick and whatever, and they go to the doctor and the doctor is giving them loads of medicine. But the doctor didn't ask him, well, where did you move to? And the answer, Chernobyl. Well, says, well, there's your answer, type of thing. Not that I've moved to Chernobyl, but it gives you an idea of you know, areas that do have a direct effect on you. So, yeah, it's like it's just one of those things. And I think like with what you're doing and how much awareness you're bringing about this particular problem and
Mm.
helping with performance or impeding on performance,
Yeah.
I think it's an invaluable thing that people will get to know, hopefully very quickly, that it will help them,
Mm.
rather than, as you say, you're going to buy more stuff. Whether it's a new bed or a new mattress or more supplements or the latest in the greatest in the green powder, blah, 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 that sort of thing.
Mm.
Yeah, when in fact, it's just like, it's your house, it's where you're living.
Mm.
Simple as. I know we've all gone to places where you've gone on holiday and it's wonderful and the energy is fantastic. And then you come back to the house and go, oh my,
Mm.
but nobody ever does anything about the, oh my God. They just want to go back and have another holiday.
Mm.
Well, why wouldn't you have your house as being, oh my God, this is fantastic? And this is one of the focuses I did with you,
Mm.
because when you ask, well, what do you want the house to be? Rather
Yeah.
than just clearing out this stuff, it's
Yeah.
like, well, what would you like it to be?
Yeah.
So I said I wanted an inviting place that people are delighted to come to and even feel happy and healthy when they come and leave.
Mm.
So it's not just like it's a place to live. This is a place, I don't want to use the word refuge, but it is a place for happiness and health
Yeah.
and prosperity,
Yeah.
which it definitely is now.
Yeah, and I think that sort of gives me goosebumps when you say that, because that's like the step beyond. The
Yeah,
first step is sort of raising the awareness, working out what things are. Then it's doing the work, seeing the root causes and being able to clear them, which already
yeah,
is phenomenal.
yeah,
But then when you take it, give it that extra step, and then you say, but what if my home could actually support me, could
yeah,
actually nurture me, could nourish me, could become this place of welcome and warmth and attractiveness, so it would be attracting the right people. It's almost like
exactly.
you give the home a purpose, a new identity,
That's the
and a
exact
new
words I was going to say.
energetic reality. And then instead of keep layering on the disruptive issues, depressive, draining things from the past, you then start layering on your energetic
Yeah,
reality into the home,
yeah,
and that those are the new layers that you're now putting in there, and the home suddenly wakes up and goes, oh right, so I can be different, I didn't know that. So you've got
absolutely.
a room now which is almost like because everything's energy, right? When we say that glibly, people say, oh yes, everything's energy. But what does that actually, do you think actually that means your home is energy, right? Your room
Mm-hmm,
is energy, your furniture is energy.
mm-hmm.
So what if you can actually start imprinting and upgrading that energy that is around you, that is
Yeah,
actually your structural support
yeah,
on this planet? And then you're then in tandem with that. And your home becomes in tandem a reflection of your new energetic reality, and then even helps you move forward.
absolutely. It's like setting an intention for your property. Like
Mm.
we set intentions, like, well, some people do set intentions for ourselves, for things we're doing, for other people, but we never set an intention for our property,
No, it's weird, isn't
So it's like, maybe there's something in that, huh? And it's like,
it?
okay, so I set an intention for my house to be a loving, inviting place for the right people, that keeps them happy and healthy and prosperous.
Yeah,
That's a nice reality I'd like to live.
yeah. And so how does your home feel? What is the energetic reality of your home like now, couple of weeks after we've done the clearing?
Yeah, like I told you at the time, it's like this room here was one of the coldest in the whole house. And a few days later, I was like, I was in the house, it's a bit cold. And I come in this room, it's like, oh, it's so toasty. Oh my goodness me. No, it's like I almost
Toasty.
want to live in this room now. So yeah, it's done a complete 180. And like one of the things you said to me, which did take me aback big time, but I understood it when you said it, is that the house doesn't belong to me. And that was, to be honest with you, it was a kick in the teeth. And like consciously, yeah, completely true. The house doesn't belong to me yet. But it was almost like a rowdy teenager. That's what it felt like. It's like, you were not going to get me, and it was going to fight me,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and that's not a battle I wanted to take on,
Mm,
because chances are I'm not going to win. But
mm,
now you flip that again, from now he's like, oh, you won't owe me, you, or that sort of thing, to now we're partners in
mm,
this.
mm,
We're creating this whole new reality. We're working on this reality together, and it's this symbiotic relationship where there's benefit for everyone involved.
mm,
So yeah, very different shift, very different energy indeed.
mm. So that's how the end that's how the house energy shifted. Now, what has actually tangibly changed for you, David, in terms of your health and your productivity and your performance?
So the day after we did the clearing, I woke up completely different. It's like you literally flipped a switch in my head. Like, and I know this switch is there. I've done it time before, but this time I was like, I was trying to flip this switch and I just couldn't. It was like I'd flip it and it'd automatically go back. It was like a trip switch that kept going off and on. Kept switching itself off. But then next day I woke up and by golly was this switch flipped. So I was like, my physical, like I was going, I need to go to the gym, I need to go to the gym, I need to go to the gym, I need to go. Oh. So yeah, first thing Monday evening was like straight in the gym. And I was like, let me hit the weight, let me hit the weight, let me. I couldn't start soon enough. Um, Also my diet, like that. I was like, oh my God, give me a salad. Because like I eat pretty healthily when I'm on form. And the salad I had was the most delicious thing I had tasted in months. I was like, oh my God, this is heaven. And it wasn't anything special or anything like that. It was just the same salad I had prepared literally thousands of times before.
Mm,
And but it was just, now I had this new reality that it was like, yes, this is what I should have been doing. Um, and my productivity was through the roof. I was in flow like that. Things that I had been resisting doing in my own business that I knew I had to do and that I teach people to do, which I was resisting doing, boom, got done straight away. So yeah, that week was just like night and day. It was just phenomenal, phenomenal. It was like the me that was the high performing athlete type business person. And I was just firing on all cylinders. It was unreal.
mm. Wow. So what about other things like your what about the other like your sleep and the flies? We haven't talked about the flies.
Wait, there's a donkey and flies. Uh,
Yeah. Well, these are tangible things, that where people think
Yeah,
that
so
energy isn't going to
yeah, sleep
affect
was
things.
really good.
Mhm.
I was waking up full of energy. I wasn't sort of reaching for my phone, like going, oh yes, I'm just going to scroll here for a few hours, type of thing. I was out of bed, boom, in this room, working straight away.
Yeah.
And flies. Yes, let's talk about the flies. So just one of the issues we had is flies. Like in winter, you do not expect to see flies, but the conservatory in this house would have 40, 50 flies daily in there. It's like they'd all die, and then you just be hoovering up flies for half
Mm,
an hour.
mm,
So when we cleared everything that was going on, no flies. For some strange reason, no flies.
It makes me laugh. It makes me laugh because it just, you just don't know the sort of the full extent of this work and how it can affect things. But I think when it affects things like animals and flies, and you think, well, okay, that's
If you say so, it'll
it's
it'll get away your flies.
it's really tangible, right? So yeah. So anything else that sort of stands out for you that you want to share?
Yeah, it's like obviously this isn't just a one-time thing.
Mm,
Just like physical fitness or mental health or anything like that is not just a one-time thing.
yeah,
It's not a wham bam, thank you, ma'am. I still have work to do here
yeah.
in the house, both physically, like with taking care of the house and all that sort of thing, as well as energetically too. I still have to put energy back into the property
Yeah.
and love it so that it loves me.
Hmm.
And that the area around it maintains that high frequency that you instilled in
Yeah.
it. So yeah, it's like anything of value you will continue to put work and energy into.
Mm, absolutely. So there's got to be some ongoing maintenance. It's not just
Exactly,
a
exactly. And
cure
if
all.
there's a
And
wobble, I know who to contact.
thank you. Thank you. So what would you, I mean, people listening here whose performance is like
Yeah.
yours, gone down the toilet and they've tried everything or whatever. What would you want them to know about this link between productivity and your home environment?
Yeah, it's like whether you've moved into a new property or had a renovation or not, there's something going on somewhere. Somebody could have moved in next door to you or around you that's affecting your energy. They're bringing their bad juju with them, this residual energy that affects you, that sort of infects your space.
Mm,
Or it could be that you have moved into a space and that there is that residual energy there. I know you've worked on many places that have
mm.
like energies that are thousands of years old.
Yeah, yeah. Back to the
So
Vikings, yeah.
you've got rid of Viking hordes for crying out loud. So how do you combat that? You ain't
Yeah,
going to get that out some Windoline and a
yeah,
Mr. Sheen type of
yes,
thing.
yeah.
The strongest bleach ain't going to sort that out for you. So if you've sort of looked at every other area, and you've done what you can, and this is one of those things that you haven't looked at, I would invite you to do so.
Mm,
You never know. Chances are there's a possibility that it isn't, but chances are that it is.
mm,
And like I know you found loads of other things in loads of other places.
mm,
And we don't know the history of the world. We don't know everything that's been here before us. And it'd be arrogant of us to think we do.
mm,
And so it's worth having a conversation. It could change your whole environment around. And if people are getting sick, in your family or whatever, goodness me, do it for them, if not for yourself.
mm. Amazing. So, anything you'd like to say in closing? What you're going to take away from this experience?
Well, first of all, thank you. I can't say it enough. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what can be created in this space.
Yeah.
Like I know we've set the intention that this is an inviting house for the right people, that it is something that they look forward to, and we create great memories here, family and stuff like that. So I'm very happy with the way everything feels.
Mm,
As I said, I still have work to do to maintain that.
mm,
But yeah, it's like a massive thank you
mm,
for what you do.
mm,
And this will become a wider thing as you do more and more of this, and more people see the amazing work that you do.
mm.
Um,
Thank you.
which it is an amazing work. It's something that's needed. And as we get to know more about the universe and more about the planet and whatever, and discover these things that have been hidden from us for millennia, this is one of those things that will become the norm type of thing.
Thank you. And what do you, and finally, how do you see this helping your business goals?
Yeah, as I said, like we've set the intention for this property and this room in particular, and like we are in this symbiotic partnership working together. So I'm not sort of beating my way through the energy of the room to try and just stay with my head above water. Now we're actually working together into making a hugely successful business or businesses type of thing. So yeah, it's, again, I'm very excited. I'm really looking forward to what can be created here in this particular room and in the property in general, and what's going to come in the next couple of years.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for being my special guest today on the Problem Properties podcast, David. You've been absolutely brilliant. And thank you so much for sharing your experience. I hope very much that it will make people think, it will make people reflect on their lives and their performance and what connections, and see some new connections and new possibilities for themselves and their futures, and may, you know, and this ways in which this work can get out to a wider audience. So I'm very grateful to you for coming to talk to me today. It's been brilliant, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Kathryn. It has been an absolute pleasure to be here.